Hi everyone, welcome back to my videos. My name's Katie and this week I'm talking about my 5 items I couldn't live without for a newborn. You know, games, things like that, and I'm not talking about anything to do with keeping toddlers entertained. I am talking solely about those 5 things that from the off and when that baby is first born that I'm so glad I had my hands on. So number 1 is a baby Bjorn bouncer. So it's a sort of a normal bouncer. It's that you put your baby in and they like a seat that bounces, but I found the baby Bjorn a little bit more upright. So for me, with my daughter the first time round, she had really bad reflux, and keeping her upright was really important to make sure that acid didn't jump up the esophagus and cause her pain. We were actually given ours by a friend, and I had never heard of them before we were given one, and it just changed everything. It was amazing. It meant I was actually able to put my daughter down and do something whilst she just sat in this bouncer quite happily looking around. She was elevated, she was comfortable, and it was just a game changer. So the baby Bjorn bouncer, it's got really nice rocking motion as well, so you can put your foot on it and just rock it with your foot, and that was really nice, rather than some of these bouncers which are either vibrate or they're just not as smooth in bouncing. So it's really light, it's foldable, and if you experience a bit of a punami in it, a poo explosion, then it's really handy to just pull it off from the top and then you just shove it in the washing machine. It's really easy to clean. So I'm a big fan of this baby bouncer. My second item that I'm really glad I bought was a soft wrap baby sling. The brand that we ended up buying was a brand called Bykay. But I mean, they're all pretty much the same. They're just a long, stretchy wrap material that you wrap around, and there's lots of YouTube videos on there, on here, just to tell you how to wrap it around. And then you put your baby in the sling and it comes up as a tiny little bundle on you. Check out my previous video where I actually ended up doing the video with my son actually in it, and it will show you how snug the baby can actually be. I found this particularly great with reflux baby again, and it was just really easy to shove on. The baby sat in it really comfortably and it just soothed the baby, it kept the baby upright, and when they fall asleep for hours in it, honestly. You can guarantee that you can spend a whole evening with a baby asleep in there and they'll be snug as a bug, and they're really close to you, so you kind of feel like they're very happy against you, and for that the soft slings are really nice. They're great as well because they're light, so when it comes to portability, you can just shove them in a bag or shove them under a pram or even shove them into a bag if you're going away somewhere for a weekend. And then because they're just fabric, shoving them in the wash is really easy as well, because it's amazing how dirty they can sometimes get because they're really long, so they might trail down sometimes, or if you're like me and you end up having to eat with the baby in it, you can sometimes spill some food down it. The problem is now is that Aiden is a very long baby, he's a very big baby, so trying to get him in it now is actually really difficult because he is so long. And this leads me really nicely on to my next item, which is the baby Bjorn Miracle baby carrier. So again, this is something to hold your baby on you, and as I said, I love baby carrying. I think it's a really great way of going about your business, being able to do what you want to do, but by keeping the baby on you, so the baby feels safe and cozy, and you know that they are happy because they are close to their mums. So the baby Bjorn baby carriers, there's lots of different types. We chose the Miracle one because it means that they can face both ways, so they can face towards you or you can turn them around and they can face out, and the little flap that holds against the head can fold down and they can look around, and it's great for that, especially when they start being a little bit older and they want to see what's going on in the room. It is bulkier, however, so packing it away means that it takes a bit more space. shoving it under the pram means, you know, it can sometimes stick out and things like that. So unlike the soft sling where it packs away quite small, the baby carriers can be a little bit bulkier. But saying that, it is a lot quicker to put on. The soft sling, you need to sort of tie it in a certain way, and this can take a little bit of time, especially when baby is screaming the head off in the next room. But with the baby carrier, you literally put it on like a jacket and clip, and then put the baby in straight away. So in that respect, it's really helpful. Again, as well, it's really easy to wash. So you just take away the front bit where the baby is, especially if you're used to them facing outwards and they start to, which Aiden has been doing, chewing the folding bit or sucking it, and it can get really dirty. I've started putting a muslin cloth there just so he can suck that instead, which is easier to clean, but you can unclip it all and just pop it straight in the wash, so that's really handy too. My fourth item, which I love, is the Shnuggle baby bath. So this particular bath has a really high back bit, and it's like a big oval, and it's got like a little wedge seat at the bottom, and what you do is you pop the baby in and it just keeps them really nicely upright, nice and safe. They can't really fall because of the shape of the bath. Bathing babies can be quite difficult, or it can be quite something you're quite nervous about as a parent, because obviously you're dealing with water and you don't want to slip, whereas I found this bath was really stable for the baby. It's a nice depth, so you can actually bring it up to the water up to baby's sort of midriff or baby's chest, depending on the size of the baby, so they're nice and warm. And it also saves on a lot of water, so if you are getting used to your baby having nightly baths, filling up a whole bath takes time and a lot of water, whereas this bath, you just fill it up and it takes, what, a minute to fill up, and it takes a fraction of the water. The only thing I will say is that it is quite big and bulky and it does take up a lot of space, so trying to store it has been a bit of a nightmare. But at the moment we're just able to keep it in the bathroom because we're using it quite frequently, and my daughter helps with bath times, which is really nice. The fifth and final thing I'm really pleased we bought over other items is the Easy Microwave Steriliser by Tommee Tippee. So other bulkier plug-in sterilisers take up a lot of space in the kitchen, and we just found that we didn't need it that much. And this steriliser is like a dome that is underneath a tray that you fill with water, and you just shove it in the microwave for 5 minutes, and the items in that little dome that you then lift up and on then remain sterile for 24 hours. So as I said, it's smaller, it's less bulky, it's quicker, and it's just easier to use. It's easy for us because we are currently doing about 2 to 3 bottles a week of mixture of breast milk and formula, depending on the day. So for us, we are not sterilising bottles that often, but for those of you who have to sterilise bottles every day because you are bottle feeding, I suppose a bigger mainstream steriliser will be easier for you. But for those of you who aren't planning on using a bottle that often, then a microwave one is more than adequate. It also means that you don't need a bottle drying rack, which some people have to do if they have the bigger electric sterilisers. So you just can leave it in there and it will just dry, and then you just take off the lid and you just pick whatever you need to use as you need it. So there you go, those are my 5 items I couldn't live without with a newborn, and I'd love to hear your opinions on the items that I've described today, because obviously each to their own, everyone's got different ideas, and some of you may suggest different variations of the things I've explained today. So next time I'm going to give you an update on how we're doing as a family and how Aiden's doing and growing up and our routine and how it's changing. I'm also going to be reviewing the items that I bought before Aiden was born. If you haven't seen it yet, check out this video and look at the items that we decided to buy this time that we didn't last time for my daughter, and I'm going to tell you how we've got on this time and my reviews of those items. And of course, please subscribe to my videos and my channel and get an update every time we release a video, and to get all the updates on Aiden and him growing up to be a lovely little boy.